Yo, what's good, basketball heads? It's your boy Crush. So, Marcellus Wiley, who formerly worked on Fox, who now has his own show, exposes Stephen A. Smith even more. So, Marcellus Wiley said that Stephen A. quickly realized after working with Max Kellerman that he was dealing with a whole other animal. And here is why. Because Max Kellerman has a degree in history. He's very smart, very articulate, and he's great at debates and tackling certain subjects. And if you watch the show at the time when Stephen A. was working with Max, you can see that on a lot of topics and debates, Max would be outshining him because Max is well versed in history and he's a very smart guy. So Stephen A. didn't like Max outshining him. He more so wanted Max to be like a yes man, basically. I'll be Batman, you'll be Robin, and just play along. But Max wasn't going for that. Being that Max is outspoken and, he's not trying to stay in the pocket that Stephen A is trying to keep him in, eventually, the friction grew and Stephen A felt threatened because, this guy here is, very intelligent. He has a degree in history. Like I said again, he would outshine Stephen A on a lot of topics. Even topics regarding blacks, African Americans and minorities. Max would outshine him on those issues on live TV. And Stephen A got tired of Max not playing along and doing what he wanted him to do. So Marcellus Wiley said, Max Kellerman has a degree from Columbia University. He studied history and he's a bona fide genius. So you put all those things together, you could see why Stephen A would feel threatened or he would want to keep Max in a pocket. So Stephen A just wanted Max to come on the show, be a yes man, not do too much, not say too much, just let me be the star and you're just my co-host, just play along. Being that Max wasn't willing to go for that or Max was pushing back, Stephen A didn't like that. Hence why, Max got fired. And I would watch the show. I used to watch First Take a lot. I don't watch it anymore, but at one point, I used to watch First Take a lot. And Max would always outshine Stephen A in debates. I've seen it live. Max would always outshine Stephen A in a lot of debates. I have seen it with my own eyes, watching him on First Take. So I can understand why Stephen A would feel threatened, feel like Max is outshining him. Obviously, Stephen A want to remain the number one guy. He want to be on top. And he don't want anyone to be able to come in and take his position. So if you make him feel threatened where he feels like he's not the alpha, then he's going to more than likely get rid of you. So Marcellus Wiley said Max Kellerman was a bona fide genius. His high school test scores were off the chart. And Stephen A. Smith has admitted on numerous occasions that he struggled growing up, with learning. So here you got a guy who's borderline a genius and another guy who, despite his struggles and woes, he have came a long way. And now you have this other guy coming in who's well versed in history. He's very smart, could clash with the best of them. And Stephen A wanted no parts of that. So he got Max X. When I watched Max on First Take, I thought it was great. When Stephen A got Max fired, I never understood what the issue was. Because Max was great, man. He's well spoken. He's well versed in history. Max could debate with you about anything. Any issues, any subject, it's going to be a good debate. So when he got fired from First Take, I just never understood what was the reason. What was the reason why they fired Max Kellerman? I never understood it. And now it's all coming out. Stephen A couldn't handle the pressure. Stephen A was trying to protect his position. Basically, it's either you or me. And it ain't going to be him because he want to remain the number one top dog on ESPN by any means necessary. So Marcellus Wiley said that, Stephen A wanted Max, to go along, but at times Max would defer. And that's where the issue came in. Max would push back, he would defer. I mean, obviously, he has his own mind, his own brain. He could think for himself. It's a debate show, right? So, I mean, don't put me in a box in a square. Let me flex my legs, basically. Let me spread my wings. And that is what Max was trying to do. He's trying to debate. But Stephen A didn't want that. Knowing that Max is a very intelligent man, a historian, and Stephen A insecurities got the best of him. Going back to what I said earlier, Stephen A. Smith has admitted on numerous occasions that he struggled with learning growing up. So, of course, that is an insecurity. And then you bring a guy in who's well versed in history and just is a smart dude. That only makes his insecurities worse. So, of course, he's going to get Max sniped. So, Marcellus Wiley also said because Stephen A gave Max Kellerman the opportunity to work with him on First Take, whenever he gives you an opportunity, he's going to also say, hey, you're my subordinate. Basically, I'm the alpha dog. I'm the top dog. You're working under me, so you stay in your lane, basically. And because Max wasn't willing to stay in his lane or just be a nod yes man on the show, agree with Stephen A, yes, yes. And he was pushing back and, being a little defiant or a lot defiant, we had problems. And we know Max wasn't going to stay there. So Marcellus Wiley said it all started from Max being so intelligent that it brought back all those insecurities in Stephen A, basically. Because Max is borderline genius, is a very smart man, that triggered all the insecurities in Stephen A. Brought back old feelings and he couldn't handle it, so Max got to go. Also, Max Kellerman would outshine Stephen A in a lot of topics that he wanted to conquer or he wanted to seem like he was well versed in. Max would outshine him in a lot of topics, a lot of debates. Stephen A felt threatened. Max was a threat to Stephen A. Simple as that. So he did a sucker move. Stephen A pulled a sucker move. Like, you got to be a real buster. So he got the dude fired because, he can't handle competition. He want to be the top dog. And I don't want anyone to threaten me or threaten my position in any way, shape, or form. So he got Max Kellerman fired, who is a really nice dude, man. I actually like Max Kellerman. Pause. So Marcellus Wiley said, Max Kellerman is not Skip Bayless now, who would just nod on black issues, Because let's be honest, Skip is not well versed in, black issues, minority issues. He's not. So when they're talking, he'll just nod, yeah, yeah. Max Kellerman is going to go deep. He's going to get very in-depth on issues, social issues. And apparently that made Stephen A uncomfortable. Like, this guy's too smart. He's too well versed in all these topics and issues. And I want to be the king. Max will break down history on you. He'll go way back in the days and time. You can't out-educate Max. You can't out-articulate him. And Stephen A's smart, but Max is a borderline genius, like Marcellus Wiley said. Marcellus also said he confronted Max and asked him, what's going on? You're not standing as tall as you used to. You're not shining as bright as you used to. They were kind of holding him back. He wasn't allowed or able to, to operate how he wanted to operate. Because ESPN, and Stephen A basically low-key hating on the man. And that's crazy. Man, that's some sucker shit. Like, you got to be a real buster sucker. Like, that's some sucker shit. You hate on another man because they're intelligent. He's an historian and he's outshining you. But then you go on air and say, Max wasn't bringing it, lying. No, Max brought it. You just couldn't handle it. So Stephen A. Smith is going to go on Joe Budden's podcast and make it sound like Max wasn't doing his job or, Max was falling off or Max wasn't performing at the level that he needed him to. And that wasn't the case. It's all a lie. The fact of the matter is Max was outshining him in a lot of issues, social justice issues, a lot of, sports debates, topics, and he couldn't take it. He's not smarter than Max. He can't out-articulate Max, so of course his insecurities resurface and he feels threatened and What's the next play? I got to get this guy out of here because he's making me look bad. So that's the situation basically. But he's going to lie and make it seem like Max wasn't performing, doing his job, and it's all cap. So Marcellus said Max kept fighting the resistance, Eventually, they started treating Max bad on air. They started disrespecting him on air, and you could see the tone and the difference in how they were treating him, basically. Stephen A is a sucker, man. That's some sucker shit. That's some real sucker shit. I'm going to get you out of here because you're competition to me. But yet I'm going to act like I want to go up against the best of the best. It's all a front. Stephen A don't want anyone on the show that could outshine him. Period. So even though he's going to act like, Max wasn't performing at his optimal, it's all cap. He doesn't want anyone on the show that could outshine him because he want to be the number one dog, the top dog, the alpha, that dude, obviously. And that's just what it is. So in his mind, that's his way of protecting his position, his job, and being the number one guy on ESPN First Take. So Stephen A. Smith comment about, you either need to do what you need to do or I'm going to get someone else. Marcellus Wiley said, what Stephen A. wanted Max Kellerman to do is be a head nodding white guy. Don't do too much, stay in your lane and just nod your head. And Max wasn't going for that. Max wasn't willing to be, a little side puppet, and that rubbed Stephen A. the wrong way. I don't need you to outshine me. I'm the one who got you this job, this position. Stay in your lane. Let me be the star. So Marcellus Wiley said, Stephen A. is looking at it like, I brought this white guy in who's supposed to, help prop me up. But instead, he's cutting me down because he's so well versed in a lot of things and he's so articulate that he's stepping on my toes. Whether directly or indirectly, he's basically outshining me. So I got to get rid of him. So to conclude all this, Marcellus Wiley said, Max will not fight you, but he won't dumb down for you. And Stephen A. Smith wanted Max to, dumb down himself. Just be a head nodding white dude. Make him look like he's a smart guy who knows everything or he's well versed in a lot of these topics and debates, whatever. And Max wasn't willing to do that without some resistance. And that rubbed Stephen A. the wrong way. So he knew he had to get rid of Max. I can't have this dude coming in here outshining me, especially on black issues and social justice issues where I want to seem like I'm the king of those, those debates. And Max is over here just tearing his ass up. What's the next best move? I got to get him out of here and lie on Joe Budden podcast and say he wasn't doing his job or, I got to find someone who's going to do their job. Meaning I have to find someone who's willing to be quiet, don't say too much. Just stay in the corner in your lane and nod your head. Don't challenge me. Just keep it simple. So Stephen A. is a buster, man. That's some real buster move. Got Max fired. It's just sad, man. But here, Stephen A. is being exposed all over the internet. And the cat is out the bag. But as always, I'll holla. As always, we just talking basketball. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. Holla at your boy.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game. I'ma say it. It's all about the game.